Solid state. Up to now we have discussed gaseous state first and second, and then in the third unit we have discussed liquid state. This unit, solid state, or we call it as crystalline state. So initially very simple things are given, that various properties solids and their classifications. So some important properties: solids possess rigidity and hence have definite shape and definite volume. Solids are almost incompressible. Solids have much high density as compared to liquid and gases. The interparticle distance are short and interparticle forces are strong in case of solids. Therefore, depending upon the intermolecular forces of attraction, solids are broadly divided into two types. One is crystalline solid and another is amorphous solids. A solid is said to be crystalline if the constant particles are arranged in a definite geometric pattern. Either we call it as definite geometric pattern, or in a systematic manner, or in a regular fashion within the solid. For example, all solid elements and compounds exist in this form. And the other type of solids are amorphous solids. A solid is said to be amorphous if the constant particles are not arranged in any regular fashion or regular manner. They will be called as amorphous solids. For example, glass, rubber, polymers of high molecular mass, etc. So next, after this brief introduction of solids, we have difference between crystalline and amorphous solids. Some simple points of difference between crystalline solid and amorphous solids have been introduced here in the tabular form. One point of difference is just the definition of crystalline solid and amorphous solid, as we have just defined, that the constant particles are arranged in a regular fashion containing short range as well as long range order. This is for crystalline solid. And in case of amorphous solid, the same definition will be there, but the constant particles are not the constant particles are not arranged in any regular fashion. They may have only short range order, but no long range order will be there. They have sharp melting point. They melt over a range of temperature. ये जो sharp melting point है, कई बार हम पूछते हैं कि what do you mean by sharp melting point? तो students कहते हैं कि high melting point. That is not necessary. Sharp means exact. Say a particular substance is having melting point is 350 degrees Celsius. That means up to 349 degrees Celsius it will be solid. And as and when its temperature is 350, it will be converted into the liquid phase, and its temperature will remain constant so long whole of the substance, solid substance, is converted into the liquid phase. So that means by saying this sharp, जैसे हम कहेंगे sharp at 9 means exact at 9 o'clock, neither 9:05 or neither 8:55. And these amorphous solids, they melt over a range of temperature. Range of temperature, say a particular substance start melting at 150 degrees Celsius, and temperature will keep on changing, and the last trace of the solid particle when it is converted into the liquid phase, say it is at 160 degrees Celsius. Then its melting point will be ranging from 150 to 160 degrees Celsius. Another important difference is they are anisotropic or anisotropic. That means the properties like electrical conductivity, thermal expansion, etc. have different values in different directions. In case of crystalline solids, when we measure the different properties in, say, along x-axis or along y-axis or along z-axis or between these x, y and z axes, then those properties will have different value in different directions. Means they are having different values in different directions are known as anisotropic. While amorphous solids, they are isotropic, means the properties like electrical conductivity, thermal expansion, etc. have same value in different directions. This simple difference, they undergo a clean cleavage because crystalline solids are arranged in a systematic manner. So when we have a cut for smaller pieces, they will also have a regular arrangement. While on the other hand, these amorphous solids, they undergo irregular cut. And one more thing is that they are true solids. and amorphous solids, they are pseudo. Pseudo means false solids, or they are super cooled liquids. Now, after this broad classification, crystalline solids are further classified into 4 types, depending upon the constituent particles and the type of interaction existing between those particles. They are divided into 4 categories. One is ionic crystals. In an ionic crystal, clearly from the name of this type of crystal, that is ionic crystal, we have the idea that the constituent particle occupying the lattice points are the positive and negative ions, and these ions are held together by ionic bonds. So constituent particles will be ions, and they will be held by ionic bonds. They will be known as ionic solids. For example, sodium chloride. Some characteristic properties of ionic solids have been given, that they have high melting and boiling point, they are good conductor of electricity, they are soluble in polar and polar solvents, but insoluble in non-polar solvents, they are hard and brittle. Solubility के लिए एक general rule है, like dissolves like. So because these are ionic solids, will be polar and they will be soluble in polar and will be insoluble in non-polar solvents. Another is molecular crystals. In case of molecular crystals, the constituent particles occupying the lattice sites or lattice points will be molecule and are held together by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. For example, HCl, H2O, NH3, H2, Cl2, I2, etc. These are the example of molecular crystals. Again, some simple properties of these molecular crystals, that molecular crystals are soft and have low melting and boiling point, because the intermolecular forces of attraction which are holding the constituent particles together is very weak, that is of the order of van der Waals force of attraction. Therefore, they will be soft and having low melting and boiling points. They do not conduct electricity in the solid or liquid because no ions will be formed. They are less soluble in polar solvents and more soluble in non-polar solvents. Then third type of crystalline solids is atomic or network, or we call these as covalent crystals. Again, in case of covalent crystals or covalent solids, the constituent particles will be atoms. In case of ionic crystals, it was constituent particles were ions. In case of molecular crystals, the constituent particles were molecule, and in case of covalent crystals, constituent particles are atoms and are held together by a network of covalent bonds. For example, diamond. Now some characteristic properties of these covalent crystals: they have high melting and boiling point, they are bad conductor. This is band, they are bad conductor of electricity, they are extremely hard. Their refractive indices are very high. Diamond is a substance which is having very high refractive index, and that's why it is having a high brightness. And then last type of crystalline solids are metallic crystals. These crystals consist of positively charged metal ions called kernels occupying the lattice points and are held together by metallic bonds. These metallic bonds are of the order of ionic bond strength, but there will be no positively charged ion and negatively charged ions. This type of bond is particularly found in case of metals. So now some properties of metals: they are good conductor of heat and electricity, they are malleable and ductile, they have bright metallic luster. Most of the metallic crystals possess high melting point and higher density. So this is just, you can say, the introduction of solids. We have defined these solids, then broadly we have classified solids as amorphous solids and crystalline solids. Then difference between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. ये जो हमने डिफरेंस दिए हैं between crystalline solids and amorphous solids, this can be important for exam point of view. And then types of crystalline solids, we have classified these into 4 types. Then the important thing starts from here, crystallography, the branch of science which deals with the study of geometry, structure and properties of crystals and crystalline substances is known as crystallography. And this study is based on three laws. These laws are the law of constancy of interfacial angle, the law of symmetry, the law of rational indices. बड़े ही सिंपल लॉ हैं, बल्कि मैं ये कहूँगा कि लॉ ऑफ कॉन्स्टेंसी ऑफ इंटरफेशियल एंगल और लॉ ऑफ सिमेट्री, तो इतनी छोटी छोटी डेफिनेशन है और आमतौर पे इनको 2 नंबर का काम पूछ लेते हैं एग्जाम में, तो हमें कुछ ना कुछ इसमें एडिशनल चीज़ें देनी पड़ेंगी, अदरवाइज सिर्फ डेफिनेशन अगर हम 1-1.5 लाइन की लिख के आ गए तो उसमें 2 नंबर मिलना हमारे लिए मुश्किल होगा. सो नाउ वी विल डिस्कस दीज डिफरेंट laws of crystallography. First is Steno's law of constancy of interfacial angles, or simply we call it as law of constancy of interfacial angles. It is observed that size of crystal depends upon the rate of cooling in its formation. When we cool a particular substance to form its crystals, then if the rate of cooling is fast, then the size of the crystal will be small. But when the rate of cooling is very slow, then the particle size or crystal size will be quite large. So this is saying, this is here, the size of crystal depends upon the rate of cooling in its formation. Similarly, the shape of crystal of a substance also depends upon the condition under which the crystallization takes place. For example, the shape of a crystal of a particular substance obtained under different physical conditions are given in this. These are the different shapes for the same crystal under different conditions. When they are formed, the rate of cooling may be different, or the other conditions under which the crystallization is being carried out can be different. However, one similarity is there, and that is that the interfacial angle, this is the interfacial angle between the two adjoining faces, these will remain constant for a particular substance irrespective of their size and shape. So however, in spite of the different size and shapes of the crystals of the same substance, the following regularity is observed. The angles between the corresponding faces, called the interfacial angles of the crystal of a particular substance, are always the same, independent of the shape and size of the crystal. And this simple statement is called the law of constancy of interfacial angles. And the instrument used to measure the interfacial angle is called as goniometer. So this is Steno's law of constancy of interfacial angle, or simply law of constancy of interfacial angle. Then next is symmetry elements of crystals. Before discussing the law of elements of symmetry, we will discuss various symmetry elements. The crystal of various substances possess the following different types of symmetry. One is center of symmetry, another is plane of symmetry, and next is rotation axis of symmetry. These three are the proper elements of symmetry, and then two, rotation reflection and rotation inversion axis of symmetry, they are known as improper elements of symmetry. So we start with center of symmetry. इनमें ध्यान दें, center of symmetry, plane of symmetry और एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री और रोटेशन एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री, इनमें एक टर्म होगी वो बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगी, हम वही लिखें. जैसे इसमें होगा कि इट इज एन इमेजिनरी पॉइंट, प्लेन वाले में होगा इट इज एन इमेजिनरी प्लेन, और रोटेशन एक्सिस में होगा इट इज एन इमेजिनरी लाइन. So we start with center of symmetry. It is defined as an imaginary point within the crystal such that any line passing through this point intersects the opposite faces of the crystal at equal distances. The center of symmetry is also called the center of inversion. For example, few center of symmetry or center of inversion are shown in these molecules. This is the center of symmetry of this molecule. any line passing through this point along this axis or along this side or along this side will cut the opposite faces at equal distance, and likewise in this molecule and in this molecule and in this molecule. Remember, every molecule will not possess center of symmetry. It is not necessary that every molecule will possess a center of symmetry. The next element of symmetry is plane of symmetry. Almost उसी तरह की definition, लेकिन difference क्या आ जाएगा? यहाँ आ जाएगा imaginary plane. It is defined as an imaginary plane passing through the crystal such that it divides the crystal into two parts in such a way that one part is the mirror image of the other. The plane of symmetry, therefore, also called as mirror plane. Another is rotation axis of symmetry. The rotation axis of symmetry, or simply called the axis of symmetry, is defined as the imaginary line. तो मैंने जैसे कहा था, यहाँ imaginary line, यहाँ imaginary plane और वहाँ imaginary point. Imaginary line passing through the crystal such that when the crystal is rotated about this line, exactly similar appearance occurs more than once in one complete revolution, that is in a rotation through 360 degree Celsius. देखो, मैं इस तरह से कहता हूं कि कोई भी मॉलिक्यूल है, मैं मान लो कहता हूं मैं अपने आप में एक मॉलिक्यूल हूं और मैं अब इस तरह से खड़ा, और अब मैं 360 डिग्री से, आपकी सबकी आंखें बंद है, मैं 360 डिग्री से आइदर क्लॉकवाइज और एंटी क्लॉकवाइज अगर रोटेट कर जाऊंगा तो आपको पता भी नहीं लगेगा, सेम सिचुएशन विल बी देयर. तो इन एवरी मॉलिक्यूल in a complete rotation of 360 degree, always the same shape will be observed. But when the similar shape is observed more than once in a complete revolution by 360 degree Celsius, 360 degree, then we say that this molecule is having an axis of symmetry or rotation axis of symmetry. And now if the same situation is observed twice, then the molecule will have two-fold of symmetry. If it is observed 3 times, then that means that is having 3-fold axis and 6-fold axis of symmetry. Remember, 5-fold axis of symmetry will be no more there. So we can have similar appearance occurs twice in one complete revolution after a rotation by 180 degree. The axis is called two-fold axis of symmetry or a diode axis. Similarly, the other possibilities found for similar appearance in one complete revolution are 3, 4 or 6 times. When we rotate by 120 degree, 3-fold, 90 degree, 4-fold, 60 degree, 6-fold. The corresponding axes are called 3, 4 and 6-fold axis of symmetry. However, we will not observe 5-fold axis of symmetry. The above type of rotations which leads to equivalent configuration which are congruent as well is called proper rotation, and the axis is called proper rotation axis. Also, it may be pointed out that we have only 2-fold, 3-fold, 4-fold and 6-fold axis of rotation, and we do not have 5-fold, 7-fold, 8-fold or higher fold axis of rotation. This is explained here is obviously due to the fact that the most essential requirement of a lattice is that it should be built up by the repetition of unit cells. The faces of each unit cell touching the faces of the surrounding unit cells without leaving any gap in between, so that it can have a compact structure. Such a close packing is possible if an object has 2-fold, 3-fold, 4-fold and 6-fold axis of symmetry, but is not possible in case an object has 5-fold, 7 or 8-fold or higher fold axis of symmetry. For example, we have shown here in diagram, first the close packing of hexagonal objects which is having 6-fold axis of symmetry. It will be having a compact structure. However, when different pentagons are arranged, then what happens? There will be some gap, and that's why 5-fold axis of symmetry and higher fold axis of symmetry will not be possible in case of crystalline solids. Now, to improper axis of symmetry, One is rotation reflection axis of symmetry and another is rotation inversion axis of symmetry. So this type of symmetry will involve two operations together simultaneously, rotation and then reflection. What happens in such cases? When a particular crystal, after rotated by, now we can, in case of rotation reflection axis of symmetry, when we rotate a particular crystal by a particular angle, say two-fold or three-fold, say we rotate the crystal or molecule by 180 degree, that is two-fold axis of symmetry, and then its mirror image is taken, reflection is taken. So that will be rotation reflection. When the rotation of a molecule or a crystal about an n-fold axis of proper rotation is followed by reflection through a plane perpendicular to the axis is called n-fold rotation reflection axis. For example, we have shown this taking an example of two-fold axis of symmetry. And another is rotation inversion axis of symmetry. When the rotation of a molecule, this is one operation, or a crystal about n-fold. N-fold में कह रहा हूँ, it can be two-fold, three-fold, four-fold or six-fold. And then it is followed by inversion through the center of symmetry. The axis is called an n-fold rotation inversion axis. Now these two operations have been shown here. We take, say, this shape 7 numerical number. Then it is along this axis, it is rotated by 180 degrees Celsius. We get this shape. And then this is one operation, that is rotation by 180 degree. And then through this mirror plane, its mirror image is taken. The shape is like L. This whole operation is known as rotation followed by reflection of the number 7. Similarly, again this operation is same. We start with the numerical value, say 7 type of shape, and then rotate through 180 degree. You will get this. Up to it is similar. And then through this center of inversion, it is inverted. You will get this. This operation is known as rotation followed by inversion. So the above two types of rotation, rotation reflection and rotation inversion, are known as improper rotation, and the starting three, that is center of inversion, plane of symmetry and rotation axis of symmetry, are called as proper axis of proper elements of symmetry. The various types of symmetries as discussed above are collectively called elements of symmetry. After this definition, now we will discuss the law of symmetry. Law of symmetry फिर से एक simple सी statement है. The crystal of a particular substance always possess the same elements of symmetry. This is called law of symmetry. For example, a cubic crystal. तो definition सिर्फ एक लाइन डेढ़ लाइन की है, तो इसलिए हमें कुछ थोड़ा सा इसको एलोबरेट करना पड़ेगा कि ताकि अगर 2 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है तो हमें पूरे 2 नंबर मिल जाएं. So for example, a cubic crystal always possess the following 23 different elements of symmetry. अब बड़ा अजीब सा लगेगा, अभी तक हमने 5 एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सिमेट्री डिस्कस किए थे. सेंटर ऑफ सिमेट्री, प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री, रोटेशन एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री, रोटेशन रिफ्लेक्शन एंड रोटेशन इन्वर्जन एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री. और अब हम कह रहे हैं कि इन ए क्यूबिक क्रिस्टल इट विल हैव 23 एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सिमेट्री. तो उसको मैं थोड़ा सा अभी एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ, उसके बाद में बात करूंगा. सो देयर कैन बी 23 डिफरेंट एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सिमेट्री. वन रेक्टेंगुलर प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री 3, diagonal plane of symmetry 6, 4-fold axis of symmetry 3, 3-fold axis of symmetry 4, 2-fold axis of symmetry 6. Remember, center of symmetry, if they are in a particular molecule, that will always be 1. So that is 1. The total of these are 23. तो इसको एक थोड़ा सा मैं समझा देता हूं आपके पास. जैसे मान लो हम कहते हैं कि एक क्यूबिक क्रिस्टल है, तो वो जो क्यूबिक क्रिस्टल बनेगा आपके पास, that will have 6 फेसेज. जैसे मान लो मैं इस रूम को एक क्यूबिक मान लूँ, हालांकि परफेक्ट क्यूब नहीं है, तो जो तीन अपोजिट फेस हैं, ये लेफ्ट हैंड साइड और राइट हैंड साइड, इसके बीचों बीच जो एक तरह से कह लो कि आपके पास प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री होगी, एक वो, एक इस फेस और जो पीछे जो दीवार है उस फेस के बीचों बीच जो एक प्लेन आए, और एक रूफ और फ्लोर के बीचों बीच एक जो प्लेन आए। तो ये हैं तो तीनों क्या, प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री ही। तो एक टाइप की सिमेट्री में ही ये फर्दर तीन टाइप की होगी कि एक तो इस फेस और इस फेस के बीच में हो जाए, एक ऊपर और नीचे वाले फेस के बीच में हो जाए, एक आगे और पीछे वाले फेस के बीच में हो जाए। तो देयर कैन बी थ्री प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री, एंड लाइकवाइज देयर कैन बी फोर फोल्ड ऑफ एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री, थ्री डायगोनल प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री, सिक्स थ्री फोल्ड एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री, फोर टू फोल्ड एक्सिस ऑफ सिमेट्री, सिक्स, एंड सेंटर ऑफ सिमेट्री 1. तो टोटल एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सिमेट्री विल बी इक्वल टू 23. An example of each type of symmetry possessed by a cube is shown in figure 4.6. जैसे इसमें हम बात करें, ये आपके पास जो शो कर रहा है एक तरह से कह लो कि ये अपोजिट फेसिस के बीच में ये हो गया, जैसे फिर इसके बीचों बीच एक प्लेन हो सकती है, एक अबाव द प्लेन और बिलो द प्लेन हो सकता है। ये आपके पास डायगोनल प्लेन ऑफ सिमेट्री हो सकती है, ये सेंटर ऑफ सिमेट्री हो सकता है। इस तरह से आपके पास फोर फोल्ड, थ्री फोल्ड, डिफरेंट जो कह लो के एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सिमेट्री है वो हम दिखा सकते हैं। नाउ नेक्स्ट थिंग इज क्रिस्टलोग्राफिक एक्सिस एंड एक्सियल रेशियोज. If a crystal has a regular arrangement of its constant particles, the points occupied by these particles within the crystal are called lattice points. Any plane passing through a large number of lattice points is called the crystal lattice. A very large number of sets of parallel planes exist within the crystal. Some such sets of parallel planes present within cubic crystals are shown in figure 4.7. Here, say the plane surface of a crystal is shown over here. Say this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is z-axis, or this is x, y, and this is z-axis. So, this distance from O to A is represented by small a. This distance from O to B is represented by small b. This distance from O to C is represented by small c. These A, B, and C, these are axial ratios, means length, breadth और height. Particularly आप कह सकते हैं क्यूब की, या कह सकते हैं कि length along x axis, length along y axis, and length along z axis. And then in front of this angle is alpha, this angle is beta, and this angle is gamma. These angles alpha, beta, and gamma are known as axial angles. And these two things together, alpha, beta, gamma, and A, B, C, are known as crystallographic parameters. That means if we know A, B, C, and alpha, beta, gamma, then we can describe the crystal structure completely. In order to describe the relative direction and orientation of the faces and also the planes present within the crystal, three suitable axes are chosen which meet at a point, say O. For example, in a cubic crystal, the best choice of the axes are the three lines mutually at right angles to each other. The three lines thus selected meeting at a point are called crystallographic axis. जैसे मैं कह रहा था, this is crystallographic axis along x-axis, this is along y-axis, this is along z-axis. And then this distance OA is A, this OB is B, and OC is C, angle alpha, angle beta, and angle gamma. So this OA is equal to A, OB is equal to B, and OC is equal to C. The ratio A is to B is to C is called axial ratio. Thus, the axial ratio may be defined as the ratio of the intercepts made by the unit plane on the crystallographic axis. And the angles between the axes opposite to the intercepts A, B, and C are represented by alpha, beta, and gamma respectively. And these angles alpha, beta, gamma together with the axial ratios A, B, C are called elements of crystals. Now very important law, third law of crystallography. We have discussed till now two laws of crystallography. One is law of constancy of interfacial angle and another is law of element of symmetry. This law is known as law of rational indices or Hayes law of rational indices. 3 points are there in this law. According to Hayes law of rational indices, the intercepts made by any plane or face, either by any plane or by a face of the crystal on the crystallographic axis are, there can be 3 possibilities. The 3 possibilities are either same as those of the unit plane. कह रहा है कोई भी प्लेन या फेस क्रिस्टलोग्राफिक एक्सिस पे जो इंटरसेप्ट कट करेगा उसके लिए 3 पॉसिबिलिटीज हो सकती है. एक तो कहता है वो वही हो सकती हैं विच इज सिमिलर टू दैट ऑफ द यूनिट प्लेन. दूसरा कहता है कि दे कैन बी सम होल नंबर इंटीग्रल मल्टीपल ऑफ द यूनिट प्लेन. और तीसरा कहता है कि 1 or 2 एक्सिस may be parallel to the unit plane. So same as those of the unit plane or simple whole number multiples of those of the unit planes, or third possibility is 1 or 2 intercepts may be infinity. Infinity कब होगा? If the plane or the face is parallel to 1 or the 2 axis, that is the plane or the face does not cut 1 or the 2 axis. So this is very important law और आमतौर पे एग्जाम में पूछते हैं लॉ ऑफ रैशनल इंडिसेज. नाउ आइडेंटिफिकेशन और डेजिग्नेशन ऑफ क्रिस्टल प्लेन्स एंड फेसेस. हम 2 तरीके से किसी क्रिस्टल का फेस या प्लेन जो है उसको हम रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. वन इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ विस इंडिसेज एंड अनदर इज in terms of Miller indices. Mainly हम Miller indices को डिस्कस करेंगे पहले. in terms of Wiss indices, if a face makes intercepts, these are the intercepts of unit plane A, B and C, and if a particular given face or plane cuts intercepts n times of A, n times of B, n dash time of B and n double dash time of C on the crystallographic axis, then the face may be represented by n डैश एंड एन डबल डैश. जैसे मान लो मैं कहता हूं कि कोई प्लेन या कोई फेस है वो यूनिट प्लेन पे इंटरसेप्ट जो कट करती है वो 3A, 4B और 5C कट करती है. तो 3, 4 and 5 आर द कोएफिशिएंट्स ऑफ दीज इंटरसेप्ट्स A, B and C. सो 3, 4, 5. By writing 3, 4 and 5 in the bracket, they will represent that particular face or that particular plane, and this representation is known as Wiss indices. मेरे को तो ये सबसे बढ़िया मेथड लगता है, लेकिन कहते हैं कि however this method is nowadays it is out of use. Therefore the another representation is in terms of Miller indices. इसको समझें. It is more common to take reciprocal of the numbers n, n dash and n double dash and then multiply them by the smallest number, that is LCM of the denominators, so as to express all reciprocals as integers. The integers thus obtained are called Miller indices. अभी ये जो 3 लाइन हमने बोली है इसमें शायद उतना पल्ले नहीं पड़ेगा. हम क्या कहते हैं मिलर इंडिसेज की डेफिनेशन हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि 10 मिलर इंडिसेज ऑफ ए प्लेन और ए फेस मे बी डिफाइंड एज द रेसिप्रोकल्स ऑफ द कोएफिशिएंट्स ऑफ द इंटरसेप्ट्स. जैसे इंटरसेप्ट्स हमने कहा था n, n डैश और n डबल डैश है किसी प्लेन के, तो पहले हम इनके रेसिप्रोकल ले लें. दे विल बी 1/n, 1/n डैश एंड 1/n डबल डैश. लेकिन वो सिर्फ रेसिप्रोकल ही नहीं, उसके बाद क्या करें एक्सप्रेस्ड एज इंटीजर्स, or the Miller indices may be defined as the integers which gives the ratio of the intercepts of the unit plane to those of the given plane or face. दैट इज द रेशियो, या हम इस तरह से कहें a बाई एन ए, b बाई एन डैश बी, c बाई एन डबल डैश सी। या तो ये रेशियो, ये तो a b c तो यूनिट प्लेन के लिए थे, और एन ए एन डैश बी एन डबल डैश सी ये गिवन प्लेन के लिए थे। तो या तो इनका रेशियो, या हमने क्या कहा है, रेसिप्रोकल ऑफ द कोफिशिएंट्स expressed as whole number integer will be known as Miller indices. Obviously, the Miller indices of a given plane or face are inversely proportional to the intercepts of that plane or face on the crystallographic axis expressed as integer. तो मैं जो कह रहा था कि भाई आपके पास विश इंडिसेज है, उसमें तो सीधा कान पकड़ रखा है, और इसमें जो मिलर इंडिसेज है इसमें भी कान तो पकड़ा है लेकिन यूं घुमा के पकड़ रखा है कि पहले तो जो कोफिशिएंट उसमें, अदरवाइज तो विश इंडिसेज में मैं कह रहा था भाई सीधा कोफिशिएंट से हमें पता लग जाएगा भाई कितने कितने इंटरसेप्ट्स कट कर रखे हैं। अब इसमें पहले कह रहा है कि जो इंटरसेप्ट्स हैं उनके रेसिप्रोकल लो और फिर उनको एज होल नंबर इंटीजर में हम कन्वर्ट करें, दैट विल रिप्रेजेंट द मिलर इंडिसेज एंड दैट कैन एक्सप्लेन द ए पर्टिकुलर plane or a particular face. Now some important points about Miller indices, and these points will help in solving the numerical problems depending upon the Miller indices, because usually a very simple numerical problem is there in the exam depending on Miller indices. So first point, the intercept made by a unit plane के intercepts होंगे a b c, the coefficients of these intercepts are, इसका इंटरसेप्ट क्या होगा 1, इसका भी क्या होगा 1, इसका भी क्या होगा 1, तो 1 1 1, और 1 1 1 का जब हम रेसिप्रोकल लेंगे तो वो भी क्या हो जाएगा 1. सो द कोएफिशिएंट्स ऑफ दीज इंटरसेप्ट्स आर 1 1 1, हेंस द यूनिट प्लेन इज ऑलवेज रिप्रेजेंटेड एज 1 1 1. एक चीज ध्यान दें, यहां ना तो कोई कोमा है ना कोई प्लस माइनस का साइन है. सिंपली हमने वैसे तो आप हम पढ़े हैं तो 111 पढ़ेंगे इसको, लेकिन हम क्या बोल रहे हैं 1 1 1. Another thing, if a face does not cut a particular axis at all, then the intercept on that axis is taken as infinity. Naturally, जब कोई फेस या प्लेन यूनिट प्लेन या यूनिट प्लेन के पैरेलल हो जाएगा तो it will not cut at any stage, and then the intercept can't be predicted, that will be infinity. However, all the three faces cannot be parallel. मैक्सिमम 2 फेस पैरेलल हो सकते हैं या एक फेस पैरेलल हो सकता है. एक फेस डेफिनेटली उस यूनिट प्लेन को कट करेगा, इसीलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि इफ ए फेस डज नॉट कट ए पर्टिकुलर एक्सिस एट ऑल, then the intercept on that axis is taken as infinity. Its Miller indices is, जब infinity लेंगे तो उसका कोएफिशिएंट infinity हो जाएगा. infinity का इनवर्स पहले हम लेंगे 1 upon infinity, और 1 upon infinity कितना हो जाएगा 0. For example, a face does not cut y axis and its intercepts on 3 axes are 2a, infinity b and 3c. इसी तरह की न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है कि a face does not cut y axis and cut on x axis at 2a and on y axis at 3c, sorry. What will be the Miller indices of the face or plane? So the plane can be represented first as 2a, its intercept will be represented as 2a, infinity b and 3c. The reciprocal of the coefficient 1 upon 2, 1 upon infinity, 1 upon 3, 1 upon 2, 1 upon infinity, 1 upon 3. Then 1 upon infinity will be 0. तो multiplying throughout by LCM, 2 और 3 का LCM 6 हो जाएगा. We will get 3, 0 and 2. So the face is represented as, जैसा मैं कह रहा था, कोई प्लस और कोई माइनस या कोई कोमा कुछ नहीं, 3, 0, 2 are the Miller indices of this plane. Similarly, if a face cuts only x-axis at intercept A but does not cut y and z-axis, तो जहां पे y और z एक्सिस को कट नहीं करेगा तो वो तो इंटरसेप्ट हो जाएंगे इन्फिनिटी. इन्फिनिटी का रेसिप्रोकल जब हम लेंगे तो 1 अपॉन इन्फिनिटी, और वो 1 अपॉन इन्फिनिटी तो हो जाएगा 0. और जो x एक्सिस पे a पे कट कर रहा है इसका मतलब उसका इंटरसेप्ट 1 हो जाएगा. तो उस प्लेन के मिलर इंडिसेज हो जाएंगे 1 0 0, और वी विल रिप्रेजेंट दैट प्लेन बाय 1 0 0. Another, if a face makes negative intercepts, this is very important. Negative intercept, the face cuts the axis when it is extended in opposite direction. Then the Miller indices is represented by putting a bar over it. नेगेटिव के लिए हम बार लगा देंगे. For example, if a face makes intercept minus a on x-axis and does not cut y and z axis at all, then the Miller indices, हम माइनस a का कोफिशिएंट जो है वो -1 और जो y और z एक्सिस को कट नहीं कर रहा है तो वो इन्फिनिटी हो गए. तो -1 इन्फिनिटी इन्फिनिटी कोफिशिएंट हो जाएंगे, उनके रेसिप्रोकल लेंगे तो -1 1 अपॉन इन्फिनिटी 1 अपॉन इन्फिनिटी, तो -1 0 0. तो एक तो हम तरीका ये है कि भाई -1 0 0 लिखें उस प्लेन को, लेकिन -1 को हम क्या कर रहे हैं 1 बार से रिप्रेजेंट कर देंगे. सो आफ्टर हैविंग दीज सर्टेन थिंग्स, now we will be having some numerical problems based on Miller indices. First simple example, a face makes intercepts 2a, 2b and 3c on x, y and z axis respectively. What are the Miller indices of the face? Now the particular given plane or face is making intercepts 2a, 2b and 3c. So their coefficients of the a, b and c are 2, 2 and 3. First step. Then second step, reciprocal of the coefficient is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 and 1 by 3, and then take the LCM. 6 will be the LCM and we will get 3, 3 and 2. Hence Miller indices of the plane are represented by 3, 3, 2 without any comma or plus minus. For example is given, a crystal plane intercepts the 3 axes of a crystal at multiples of 3 by 2, 2 and 1. So directly their coefficients have been given of the axial length. What are Miller indices of this plane? This is a simple numerical. The coefficients of intercepts are 3 by 2, 2 and 1, they are given. Now take their reciprocals, the second step, that will be 2 by 3, 1 by 2 and 1. And then to convert these into integer, we take the LCM, that will be 6. And when LCM is 6, then this will be 3, this will be 2 and this will be 4, this will be 3 and this will be 6. So 4, 3, 6 will be the Miller indices of the plane. One more example, example third. A face makes intercepts 2a and 3b on the x-axis and y-axis. That is, it cuts x and y-axis respectively and does not cut the z-axis at all. What are the Miller indices of this plane? Now for this solution of this problem, the intercepts of the plane are 2a, 3b and on z-axis it will be infinity because it is not cutting the z-axis. So that will be infinity c. Now the coefficients of the intercepts will be 2, 3 and infinity. Take reciprocal of the intercepts of the plane, they will be 1 by 2, 1 by 3 and 1 by infinity. 1 by infinity will be 0. Therefore, we will get 1 by 2, 1 by 3 and 0. Again taking the LCM, that will be 6 and therefore we get 3, 2 and 0. Therefore, the Miller indices of the plane are represented by 3, 2, 0. Now, similar to unsolved problems are also given on the calculation of Miller indices, and usually a very simple numerical problem is asked on Miller indices.